Shio, and welcome to this edition of Cherokee's History and Stories, What Happened Here? I'm Kathi Littlejohn. Today we're going to be talking about the Valleytown Mission Boarding School that was established very close to this site here off of US 64 towards Hayesville, North Carolina, about 7 miles from present-day Murphy, North Carolina. Here on Mission Road, one of the buildings that they had built for the school was a church, and it's located right behind me where the garden spot is now. The foundation of the church is underneath the garden spot. The school was started in 1820 by the American Baptist Foreign Mission. They built a church, a farm, and a boarding school. The school became very popular with Cherokee families living through here because the board of directors adopted a policy of teaching and preaching all in the Cherokee language. The Reverend Evan Jones became its first director, and he became very well known for his assistance with his legal strategies for Cherokee leaders that were fighting against the Indian Removal Act. In 1835, a handful of Cherokee people signed the Treaty of New Echota, which, in a brief summary, ceded all Cherokee lands east of the Mississippi. In exchange for the lands and $5 million, every Cherokee had to go to Indian Territory in the West. The U.S. government promised to bear all expenses for the removal and to subsidize each person for a year after the removal. The majority of the Cherokee people, thousands, protested this and said that the treaty was not valid. The Reverend Jones assisted Cherokee leaders in developing legal strategies on how to fight this. They developed petitions and pleas and protests, but to no avail. So in 1837, the U.S. military evicted the Reverend Jones from the Cherokee Nation. He continued to minister to Cherokee people that were interned at Fort Cass, which is in present-day Charleston, Tennessee. He actually also made the trip to Oklahoma. 4 students of the school, whose names were Peter Ogan, John Whitcliffe, John Timpson, and James Wofford, also became very active in their resistance. Peter Ogan and John Whitcliffe became Baptist preachers, and they went to Fort Butler in present-day Murphy, North Carolina, and they ministered nightly to the Cherokees that were being held prisoner at Fort Butler. Standing here on the site of the church for the Valleytown Mission Boarding School, I'm reminded that the children probably told each other stories, and it reminds me of this one. There was once a bird that was born with enormous, gigantic feet. He was so embarrassed about his feet because it made him very clumsy, and he was all the time tripping over his feet. He was so embarrassed when the other birds would tease him about his big feet that he flew all the way across the field and lived alone. One day, some Cherokee men came to burn the field to get ready for planting. All the birds were trying to move all of their young ones and their eggs to safety, except one mother bird who could not carry all 4 of her eggs alone. Another bird suggested that she fly over to the field and ask the bird with big feet for his help. She did so and begged him for help. He said, "I would help you, but I can't with my big feet. What if I drop them? What if I break them?" And she persuaded him that she would help him also. They flew back, and just in the nick of time, before the flames reached the nest, the bird with big feet very gently put 2 eggs on each foot and flew the eggs safely away. None of the other birds ever laughed at his big feet again, and in fact, he was quite proud of them. That's it for this episode of the Valleytown Mission Boarding School and what happened here. Thank you.